Hi, Bonnie. Right, Miss Lisa, I got your name
right.
Perfect. Miss Lisa is a life fullness coach. She is our Montessori teacher at our South Shore Montessori School, which is in Apollo Beach, taking care of our younger ones in the YCP, 2 to 3 year old. Miss Lisa is from Canada,
yes.
And she is now in this beautiful state of Florida. So thank you, Miss Lisa.
Thank you.
This old woman up here. The lady I can't do without. Miss Janet Gallo has been with us for like
100
years.
100. I am one of the older members of the school.
She is one of our oldest teachers. She is our upper elementary lead teacher. Miss Janet has taught my son. Okay, my son did kindergarten through 5th grade with her. So we owe a lot to her. So thank you, Miss Janet. We love you. We have Miss Grace, who is in the audience. Miss Grace is our lower elementary lead teacher. Miss Grace actually just finished her bachelor's in Montessori education. Yay!
Yay!
And Miss Janet and Miss Grace will do another workshop with our elementary children tomorrow. Okay, ladies, I won't take much time. I'll hand over the stage to you. Go ahead. If you all have any questions, just kind of hold off. Just requesting you all. They're here. Miss Grace is here to answer all your questions after the presentation is over. If you have any questions for me, I'm in the office, and I'd love to answer and help you out with everything. Alrighty, ladies. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Miss Hithika.
Thank you. Well, again, thank you for being here today. It's so nice to have you, where I feel like we are community at all 4 of our schools. And I would say more than that, I'd say family, a home away from home. And I'd like to just start off, if you've talked to anybody in all 4 schools, we could say that Montessori has touched the way we live, the way we love, the way we look at life, where Montessori is more than education. It is a way of life. So today I just want to give you a different piece. Montessori has been really out in the open these last 6 years since the pandemic, and beautifully so, because why are we different? Why are we called education for life, right? And I think a lot of the moms and things that have done things at home is showing a lot about the materials, or we want to know how to not teach our children, but guide them from a place of awareness, where we want to do things different, right? We want the best for them. Behavior, we want to learn how to interact with them in a different way. And so today I want to give you something a little bit different. I want to give you the philosophy behind it. Who likes philosophy here? Are you ready? Philosophy, science, holistic health. Who wants to do better with their finances? Right? Right? Food, right? Relationships. Who wants to be a better communicator? I do. This is Montessori. All of that. So, where do we start? We're going to start from the beginning. The foundation, which carries out for their entire life. So, have you ever wondered? I think we all have this question. How does this whole ecosystem we call human even work, right? Have you ever thought of that? I have. Any deep thinkers? I'm like, how does this all work? And why do we call this holistic education? Is anybody familiar with holistic health? Where if you go see a practitioner, they don't focus on just the symptoms. They are focusing on the whole. The way they think, the way they feel, their emotions, their physicalities, but also their life, right? So the whole. So education, holistic education, is we focus on the whole of the child. All of it, all of them. You make up, all these pieces contribute to the whole. So, from there, we're going to start off. I I guess give you the essence, because like it says over here, welcome to the Montessori journey. Life is a journey. We've all heard that, right? It's in the process. Connection. How do you connect to life? That's the special piece, right? We remember experiences. If you have a pretty good experience, you connect to it, you're going to remember that, right? What the hand does, the mind remembers. How many people are hands-on learners, right? You remember something. If you drive somewhere, you remember by going to the same spot, right? That's me, right? It's Janet. So today I want to give you something different. I want you to feel the experience of Montessori. So I'm going to start off with a little lesson.
I'm going to move this.
Perfect, thank you. I get the rug. Is everybody familiar with the work rug? No? Okay. Why do we place things on the work rug? This is the start, right? So we roll it out. It's a place for focus, concentration, experimentation. We learn to respect the materials in the shared classroom. We learn to respect other people's space as well as our own. Mindfulness, one thing at a time, self-organization.
While Miss Elisa is putting that out, think of a rug as your placemat at home. Why do you put a placemat on the table? It's not just for decoration, it's to show your child that everything on this placemat belongs to that child. So it's really teaching them spatial awareness and responsibility in the process.
Okay.
And we do our lessons on the floor for the most part.
So I'm going to sit on the floor.
Especially with the little ones.
Can you see here? Me here? Okay. So traditional education, we learn with words, right? Or cards. Like, so I want you to picture yourself as a 2-3-year-old. I want you to feel this. How do you feel? A is for apple. B is for ball. C is for cat. Oh, yes. D is for dog. Okay, so you see. Now, your experience is you're watching me tell you, right? What it is. This is what it is. So we're going to go back to apple. Now, I'm going to show you something different. This is an apple. It's red. We have red apples. We have green apples. We have yellow. They're smooth. They're shiny. It has a stem. We're going to cut the apple. Actually, can I have the cutting board? Sorry, I forgot.
I have it right here.
The nerves, you know? Thank you. And what can you see when I'm cutting it? Oh, there's juices in the apple, right? We have pieces. Now we're gonna pass it around. We're gonna smell it. I'm not gonna actually do it. Just walking you through. It's juicy. It smells sweet. So what happens now? How do you feel? How do you feel when it's presented to you like this? Now you've become a part of the experience. Okay? And leave this here. All right. So, the foundation. The foundation of development is going to carry them throughout their life. So how do we learn? So if nobody's familiar, Dr. Maria Montessori, she was a doctor. She studied health, right? How we grow, how we develop. What better person to then create an educational system? And through her inspiration and experiences with Eastern holistic living and her experience with children, she's the only person to this date, that has studied children for 50 consecutive years. So with all that came the Montessori method. Excuse me, I need a little bit of water. Okay, so we're gonna go from the beginning. So, how do we learn? Let's start off at the beginning. A thought creates an emotional feeling, creates a physical response. Would we agree? Okay. So, she said the first 6 years are the most important because why? We are starting to develop the subconscious. Anybody familiar with subconscious mind? Okay, good. The subconscious. So those 6 years, we are learning. We are forming a blueprint. So everything in our environment, the people we share with, our parents, grandparents, family, we are absorbing all of this information, right? We say kids are like a sponge, right?
Yep.
We're absorbing. And all this information from movement, traditions, belief systems, behaviors, all get absorbed like a filing cabinet. And we use this to compare to or to have instructions for the rest of our life. So she says that the most important years are not university,
No.
the first 6. So she knew this. She wanted to make those first 6 years the most conducive, the environment to that development, to have a calm environment. We have many working systems, right? We have our circulatory system, we have our lymphatic system, digestive system. Thank goodness we don't have to control all these things. We have the mind, right? We have lots of thoughts all the time. We have the emotions. So how do we regulate this whole ecosystem we call human, right? So the absorbent mind. So the first 6 years. So we start off with the environment. Why? Because she knew that the nervous system is like our control panel. If we have a calm nervous system, we're readily absorb the information that's being presented to us, that we're experiencing. So we make a calming environment. If you look around, everything has a section. Everything has a purpose. It has a place. So once we learn that, we're not focusing, we're not trying to find things. We know where they are. We're having the experience. We get to experiment. We get to explore. We are in a community where we're allowed to do that, where mistakes are welcomed, where experimentation is welcomed. That's how we learn. Those things are welcomed. And we absorb this. So we start off with practical life. Your child for 2 years is an observer. They've been observing everything you're doing. And when all physical functions come online, they want to do what you're doing. What do they think you're doing? Well, practical life is play. I want to do what they're doing. Let me do it myself, right? The 2-year-old, let me do it myself. And the other question, why? 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 Because we learn through not memorization, repetition, and having that connection with our experience. So how do we do this? We start off with practical life. You know, they start doing things that we're doing. Lacing, beading, we're pouring, we're scooping, we're refining our fine motor, our gross motor, right? We're doing all these things and we go into sensorial. We have materials we're learning with depth, height. You know, we're absorbing this because we're allowed to use it. We're allowed to touch it, feel it. It's becoming part of who we are. Then we get into language. We're not learning just language through like the cards. We're learning communication because everything in the classroom is about communication. Like, what is this? What is that? How do you feel interacting with it, right? And then we have arts and crafts. We're getting creative. We're learning how to mix things. We're learning how to mix color, texture, width. We learn, we absorb through the senses, right? That's how we learn. We absorb things through our senses. Taste, smell, touch, looking at things, listening to things. That's how we do it. So how does this help? Because with all these systems going, this helps organize, not just to know where we are, where things are, but it helps self-organization. It helps me to focus one thing at a time. How many people start things, projects, 3 or 4 projects, and then step back and say, I haven't completed anything.
I can't finish this.
They learn from a young age. I start with this, I finish it, then I go on to the next thing. That's why we start off with just a tray. One thing at a time, start to finish, complete, I put it back. And I am in a community where everybody's doing it with me, right? And what happens? We are guided with the teacher, right? To make our own choices. This is fantastic. We're not told, what would you like to work on today? Let me show you. Let's figure it out together. Let me show you how it works. And then they go from there, right? So we are innate learners. What does that mean? We naturally know how to learn. Before the educational systems, how did we learn? Through small communities, tribes, wherever we were, we learned through example. Nobody taught us with cards or instructions. We learned by doing it, right? So from here, this calming environment, this community building, all the language that we use, we learn to form connections with others, right? Care of self. Connection I feel, the connection I feel to my environment, to everyone around me. How does that help us, right? We are also supporting their emotional health. How do I express myself respectfully with others? Right?
That's right.
That's right. We make room. All feelings are valid.
All feelings.
Are welcomed. Behaviors not. We need to show them. So we help them through conflict. Yes, we're going to have conflict in life, right? Life is not perfect. How do we move through it? How do we get to the other side? So, how does this all come together? Well, Maria Montessori says when the child, the environment, and the guide works together, they form a support system that they will carry throughout their whole life. How would you feel if you were allowed to be in this space to explore things different than just instruction, right? If everyone was to come together, to learn together, to make mistakes together.
Yeah, that's right.
We would be more successful, not just for education, with life, because they go hand in hand. What good is an education if we're not good at life? We know that. I'm sure you guys have enough experience.
Yep.
If we're just good at our job, our personal life suffers. If we're too personal on our personal life, our career, our job suffers, because they're interconnected. And when we feel fulfilled in all areas, not perfectly, just fulfilled, connected, right? We are going to live abundant life. What is abundance? Not just wealth, I feel fulfilled. I'm not afraid to go after the things that are meaningful to me, my dreams. I'm not afraid of hard things. I'm not afraid of having conflict with my relationship, because I know who I am. I know who you are. I can communicate. We respect each other, our boundaries. We can talk about hard things. Right? Now, that's different, isn't it? Now most of us haven't had that privilege, or, to experience that. But this is a different way of life, to love learning, because we never stop growing. We may stop growing physically, but we never really stop growing. So we learn to love learning, right? So I'm going to leave you with this. Maria Montessori said play is the work of the child. And I've been reflecting on this for the past 10 years, and I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense. But wait a minute. Maybe she did that for good reason. Maybe she called work for good reason. Because maybe the work is that life is really our playground, and we've just forgotten how to play. And above all, at the end, in the bigger picture, she says, love is most important. So, we love life, we love the journey, the process, the hard stuff, the good stuff. We feel fulfilled. So, I'm going to hand it over now to the beautiful Miss Janet.
Oh, thank you, Miss Elisa,
pre-primary,
for your very thoughtful and insightful foray into the uniqueness of our psyche.
Thank you.
And how it works for us. Now, just going to gloss over a little bit about the Montessori curriculum. The curriculum is not your regular curriculum. It is the environment, and it was never meant to belong to the teacher. It was always meant for the children, because they are the heart of our schools. So it's not that we hand over the reins to the children. Some people might look into a Montessori classroom and think, look at them, they're all over the place. But yes, I know some parents have, but we already know something is happening with those children. They arrive with an inner urge that came from birth itself. They have that drive to explore, to absorb, and to make sense of a world where a regular lesson plan is not going to work. So what we call our curriculum, the one we put together, it comes from our observing the children, what they need, seeing where their interests lie, and then building a curriculum to match that so that they grow from these interests. So we prepare an environment rich enough and humble enough for it to do its work for the children. The teacher who understands that stops trying to lead the child and learn instead to read the child, trust the process, and protect the conditions, the environment. So how do we do that in these classrooms? How do we help our children to achieve their potential? And you're going to see that my learning style is a little different from Miss Elisa, and this is our way also, and then Miss Grace is going to come up with a different one. This is also our way of showing you that we know that learning styles are different. Everyone learns differently, and we try to build our classrooms to accommodate all the learning styles. So, in our Montessori classrooms, we build the foundation for a lifetime of learning. The Montessori pre-primary environment is far more than a regular preschool classroom. It is a carefully prepared community where children begin developing the habits, the attitudes, and the character traits that will support them throughout their lifetime. I use this word, Miss Elisa did it a lot. Lifetime. Not just for a preschool, not just for a pre-primary, but whatever we build here, we are building for life. So, how do we do this? In our classroom, we support independence. One of the greatest gifts we can give our children is the opportunity to become independent. Every activity in these classrooms, they are intentionally designed so the children can do the work themselves. We are just the guides. That's what Maria Montessori said teachers were. They were never called teachers. They were called guides. We guide the children. The children learn to dress themselves independently. They learn to care for their environment. You notice Miss Elisa has everything set on her little work rug. Nothing is spilling over into the other areas. They solve problems and they make thoughtful choices. Rather than doing things for the children, we guide them until they very confidently say, I can do this myself. Yeah, I just did it. So with each success, the children build confidence, resilience, and even more importantly, they believe in themselves. They said, I can do it. We also build leadership. How do we do that? How many of you know that our classrooms are multi-age classrooms? We've got age groups with 3 years, 3 different age years in each group. The older children, they become role models for the younger ones. They demonstrate lessons, they offer encouragement, and they model respectful behavior. At the same time, the younger children are watching, they're observing, and they want to be that person. Soon, oh, you gave a lesson today. Can I give that lesson tomorrow? Can I show them? And they'll make mistakes, but we let them do it. Leadership in our Montessori classroom is not about who is in charge. It is about serving others, showing kindness, taking responsibility, and leading by example. Our community, Miss Elisa, you touched on that a lot. Children learn that they are an important part of something that is so much bigger than them. Only if we work together can we create an environment where every child flourishes. You also touched on repetition. And I want us as parents to think about that. Why? Why, mommy? Why, daddy? Why? But I told you this just 2 minutes ago. But why? Repetition is one of the greatest teachers. When in our classrooms, when children choose to repeat an activity over and over, they are strengthening the neural pathways in their brain. Through repetition, they refine their movements. They improve concentration and they develop coordination. And at the end of that, they gain mastery over it. And the whys will stop. You know why the whys continue? It continues because you tell them, not now. I told you already. But maybe if you persist and actually show them, the whys will stop because they've mastered it. I can do it, and they move on. So what may look repetitive to adults is actually the child's brain building the foundation for future learning. And in our Montessori classrooms, right here, and when I say right here, I mean the 4 schools, we give the children the time they need to repeat meaningful work until they experience this joy of, aha, I can do it. Now, Dr. Montessori said that children pass through special periods of development which are called their sensitive periods. And it's during those times that they are naturally drawn to acquire particular skills with ease. These are their windows of opportunity. So when you see your child liking or being drawn to Legos, and you say, oh, every day you play. She said play is the work of the child. Think about it. Legos have a lot of pieces. If your child can sit and artfully put those pieces together, they are building that concentration that they need. So don't discount it. Don't discount it. It is a part. So it's their window. They now have that open. I like this, so I want to work. And in our classroom, by observing our children, we see when their windows are open to learning language and movement and order, refining of the senses. They pick up small objects and put everything together so little details come out. They build social relationships and they practice grace and courtesy. So by preparing an environment such as this, we respond to their developmental needs. We help them to learn naturally and joyfully at exactly their right time, not ours, at their right time. Am I saying that is easy to do? Absolutely not. But am I saying that with a little patience it can be done? Absolutely. So, all the works in the classroom, they are built to strengthen the mind and the body of the children. When the children manipulate the materials, they are unknowingly preparing their minds for increasingly abstract concepts later on in life. So everything we do is a foundation for later on in life. We are preparing them to be successful in the future. Now, so Miss Elisa is with the babies. Miss Grace and I are with the older kids, the oldest kids in the school, the elementary school. Now, what have we seen when all our little children leave these pre-primary, the YCP pre-primary classrooms? Everything that happens, sorry, I use my teacher finger a lot. I'm going to have to sit on my hands. Everything that happens during the pre-primary years, it lays the groundwork for their elementary education. A child who enters the Montessori elementary classroom does not simply arrive with academic knowledge. As a matter of fact, as an elementary teacher, I will tell you that I tell my children all the time that you have many years to learn your English and your math and your science. But if we don't take care of these other areas, then that is going to be a little bit difficult for you. So for us, when they arrive with independence, concentration, perseverance, this thing about I cannot do it yet. The power of the yet Use it on your children. You can't do it yet. But with certain things in place, you will be able to do it. So we teach them perseverance, curiosity. That's when the whys are going to change into specific questions. Self-discipline, responsibility, and a genuine sense of learning. These qualities allow the elementary students to ask bigger questions, think more deeply, collaborate with others, and confidently explore the wider world. The elementary curriculum builds upon these strong foundations rather than beginning from scratch. So in our Montessori schools, when our children start in YCP and the pre-primaries, and then come to the elementary classroom, we don't have that big of a teaching to do because the foundation has already been laid for us.
Right.
We simply build on that foundation.
So the experience they had now turns into, oh, the apple. What are the parts of an apple? Let's explore it. The flesh, the peel, the leaf, the stem, the seeds. Pre-primary. Then we get into
Right. So from there, they are going to want to learn.
elementary. Now where are we going to take this? So it went from this to now.
Yeah, they're going to talk about
Oh.
how do apples grow? What kind of soil do we need? What kind of climate do we need? And they take this, how long does an apple tree gets to grow, to blossom, and all of those.
So now you can clearly see from me telling you this, now you can see the full picture. We're having an experience, we're exploring, we're getting, the process goes with them. What you're going to look at, they're going to look at life like this.
That's right. Yeah.
Possibilities, opportunity, optimism, not perfection, grading, this is this, connection.
And in our Montessori classrooms, we are not as concerned about the end product
That's right, the journey.
as we are about the journey, the process. Because sometimes if we rush something, we're not going to get the product that we desired. But if we take our time and we enjoy the journey and we learn as we go along, then we are going to get the end product without even thinking too much about it. Over the years, I have had the privilege of watching this, what I call beautiful Montessori journey unfold. Just an aside, before I was introduced to the Montessori world, I had no idea. I have never even heard the word Montessori. And so when I was told that there was an opening for an assistant in the Montessori classroom, I gladly accepted. I was new to the country and career teacher from the Caribbean, but I was glad for the opportunity. And I hated math because I couldn't do it. When I was in high school, primary school, high school, I could never do math. I hated it. It's just because I couldn't do it. I just never understood it. Numbers were scary.
Couldn't do it yet.
Aha! Oh my goodness!
It's
Right.
good. No.
All right, the power of the yet.
That's it.
Yeah. So, but I didn't know that yet. I just knew that math was difficult, and I couldn't do it. And then I was introduced to Montessori. And as an assistant, I was able to watch the lead teacher do lessons with the children, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, if somebody had shown me that that was how you multiplied easily, and if that was how you divided, and I'm choosing the easier parts of it, okay? I'm not going to say add and subtract, because then you're really going to think I was dunce. But it just opened up, it opened my eyes, and I said, I can do this. I can do this. And Miss Hithika knows that to this day, my daughters laugh at me when they hear me teaching math to children, because they said, you were never able to pass math your whole life. And now as an adult, you're teaching math. It's crazy. So it's a beautiful journey. Yeah. I have seen children begin as curious 3-year-olds learning to carry a tray with careful hands, and later watch those same children become confident elementary students, asking profound questions, solving complex problems, leading younger classmates, and discovering their unique places in the world. That transformation is not accidental. It is the result of a carefully prepared environment, thoughtful guidance, and trust in the child's natural development. When we, and this is all of us, when we understand Montessori as a complete journey rather than a series of separate classrooms, we begin to appreciate the incredible continuity of this method that has been around for over 150 years. Every stage prepares the child for the next one, each building upon the last with intention and purpose. Our hope is that together, as parents, teachers, and a united village, we nurture not only knowledgeable children, but compassionate, capable, independent human beings who are prepared for life. And I found this really from one of my Montessori sites. Today they ask questions, tomorrow they will answer them. Today they need our guidance. Tomorrow they will guide others. Today we prepare lessons. Tomorrow they will prepare a better world. This is our Montessori promise to all of you. Thank you for being a part of our Montessori journey. We cannot do it without you. Do we have, is there like anyone who would want to, or just add to it? You've seen your children. Would you like to share something, ask questions?
Testimony, I guess.
Yeah.
This place is, I was wondering why my daughter was so, how do you say, she does have those leadership qualities, and she's eager to teach somebody or guide somebody. I am everybody's teacher. And so I was like, I don't know where she's getting this from.
Yeah.
But it's this school, and it's amazing what this school is embedded in her from an early start. And not to be weird, for lack of a better term, but my son is not a product of Montessori school. And from a organization standpoint, from a behavior standpoint, like being able to manage your emotions and keeping your room tidy even. She wakes up every morning and makes her bed. I never taught her that.
Yeah.
But she does it. And he does it. And it's a night and day experience as far as that goes. So this place is amazing. I love this experience for her, for us.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Older students mentor the younger ones in Montessori. And
Yeah.
that's how it works. So even if the teachers are busy and we know that some of them have mastered a skill, we will ask them to
teach
present that work to another child. That they take ownership of that. Yes. And everything we do here in Montessori is a cycle of activity, as Ms. Elisa was showing from where to get the material, and then you present the material to the child, ask the child to return it to the shelf, to the, you know, we have to find a home for every material if it is out of order. Like, we work with the children and make sure everything goes in its place. So when we introduce, we name the material, we name the area from where
Yes.
we get it.
Yeah.
So
And just
that is
to-
how it
yeah.
is ingrained in them. It's part of them.
It's part, yes, exactly. I was gonna say that because that's our innate need. We crave order. So, yeah.
Yes.
So, two questions. So the first one would be is obviously there's a ton of benefits and parallels from Montessori and just real life in itself. So the first question would be is, where have you guys seen that there's friction where the Montessori journey probably doesn't work for certain students or work for a certain family at certain points? And then how do you assess that? That's the first part. Then the second part of the question is, ultimately, why did you personally choose the Montessori way versus what you were doing before?
Oh, okay, Miss Grace, you want to take the first part?
The first part I can answer, the second
Yes.
part for you. So you asked a question about where is the friction, right?
Correct.
So first, the parents should be at par with the teachers. Like, when they come in and enroll the child, they have to understand what we do here. So we have to bridge a gap between school and home. So there is like a kind of, there is no parallels. We are in sync. So that is a major part. So if you understand our way of teaching, you could also have like practical life experience for them at home, like how to do the bed, how to, you know, clean their dishes, how to groom themselves. These are something that we teach in school, like care for self, care for the environment, care for pets or, you know, plants or whatever we have in the classroom. So you could practice that at home. That would be a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the friction happens when the parents don't have understanding of Montessori. They only focus on academic. But we are a holistic development of the child, like physical, intellectual, cognitively, how the child is developing.
Emotional.
And these are emotionally, socially. We put all those things together. So if the parent is only interested in academic, then it is going to be hard. And also there are sometimes difficult conversations can happen between the teacher and the parent. But if we notice some challenging behavior, we want to address that to the parents openly. Why the behavior is happening, something happened at home or school, we have to fix those things by working as partners. So if that openness is there, I think it benefits the child.
Along those lines, do you feel like most kids who haven't been introduced to this model figure it out, learn from their peers with the conversation with parent, or is it?
What age group are you talking about?
My daughter's 3.
No problem, because children are very resilient and they learn very quickly. They're fast learners. So when they come, they quickly adapt to our method. Yes. And as I said, it also depends on the home environment. If the parents are very supportive, they can learn it faster. And periodically they communicate with the management, school management, and then we are on the same page. We're going to help the child. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm also Caribbean. Culturally, academics is something that is extremely important. And for a 4-year-old, I was reading at 4. And so I think that is sometimes our struggle, because it's like, okay, well, you should know multiplications, you can add, you can subtract. And when you come home, you can't necessarily do these things. It's like, okay, what are we learning here? So what is your advice to parents like us, where it's like, okay, I don't want to undo what you're already doing here, but then there's just like this learned behavior
That's
or
right.
like expectation that you should be reading outside of the Montessori product, right?
Yes,
Your
absolutely.
child is
It's
like
not
behind.
easy,
If
right?
they're not reading by the time they can, by kindergarten and all the things. We don't intend for him to go into the public system. We're going to keep him here as long as, we can. So, but help us unlearn
Right.
that. So we're, again, reinforcing like what you're doing here. So we're not, there's not.
Perfect. That is a perfect question, because what are we doing here? We want better for our kids, right? We talked about that in the beginning. We want to do it different. Well, that is also where we become a part of this journey with them. So one thing that I learned when I was learning Montessori was this was a totally new way for me too. It changed my life. It changed my life with my kids, and they were already middle age. It changed my life with my husband, the way I look at life, the way I interacted with everyone. As I practiced with them, you just have to be a little bit patient and a bit open. And it's okay when you're going with it, you're going to catch yourself when you do the same thing, because we are learned, right? That learned behavior. So now when you're doing something new, your nervous system is going to go, wait a minute, hold on here, this is not normal, right? So you just be like, oh, okay, that's okay. Because I'm trying something different, it doesn't feel familiar. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means I'm learning with my child, and it becomes this beautiful journey together. Does that answer that? Yeah, so now too, you don't have to worry about it. They're doing all of this here. So what can you provide that's different from home? Activities once in a while, but they need a break, right? When you have a full day of work, you want to go home and just go, oh, right? We need that too. That's a need too. We need to do something fun, do a hobby, do something fulfilling, use a different part of our intelligence, other areas. We're not just intelligent in one area, right? So when we do make space for those things, now we're tending to the wholeness. So those things are just as important as that piece. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You have to trust the process.
Yeah.
And we have learned here that parents' expectations are not always aligned with their child's developmental stage. All right, there are ages and stages for everything. And a lot of parents, because they were, as you said, you were a reader at 4, you expect, and I'll call his name because I know him, you'll expect Ethan to be reading at 4. But Ethan is also growing up in a different environment than you were many years ago. Ethan is growing up with different resources at his fingertips than I probably know you had or didn't have, because I never had them either. And so all of these things, they hinge on the behaviors. And by behaviors, I'm not talking about child, badly behaved. No. I'm talking about adaptations, how they work in the classroom. Because a child may come to school with an iPad in the car. I'm just saying. I'm one of the teachers who I greet the children in the mornings. So I help them from their cars. So I see things. It's a teacher in me. I can't help it. So a child will come to school with an iPad in the mornings, and sometimes it takes the parents a moment or two to get them to release the iPad so that they can come out of the car. They come into the classroom, believe it or not, with that mindset. And it does take a moment for you to engage them in something else, because we see that and we say, okay, so what are we going to do to let our child see that there is something else that's just as exciting. So we will probably redirect to a part of the classroom where they could continue this journey of, let's say, he loves cars. They would continue, see how much we learn by just going to the cars in the mornings? we can continue this journey. We have cars in the classroom. They can learn to identify different cars. They could name them, you know, things like that. And from that, we are, believe it or not, we're building vocabulary. You know, we're teaching new words. They're hearing different sounds, and so on. So a language lesson is going on right there. A phonics lesson can be used, and so on. But it's not an overnight process, and that is why we call it a journey.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, because we're taught that, again, going back to your question of beliefs, we think that our children are, or we look at it sometimes, are extensions of ourselves.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They're their unique person. They're gonna want different things from us. They're gonna look at life different. They're gonna have different interests. So sometimes what I do is I just try to remember that. He is not me. He doesn't like what I like. He expresses himself different than I do. My daughter does as well. So, you know, and that even fairness, we brought that up when we were talking about putting this thing together. Like a lot of people ask, how do you show fairness?
Yeah.
By showing them that it's not fair. Does that make sense? I have to ask my two kids, I have a boy and a girl. 19 and 16, and but you do this for Matthew, then you do this for Samantha. I'm like, because there is no such thing as fair. What you like and what your sister like is totally different
and
things.
What's right for your sisters may not be right for you. And we know this.
Be fair. I can be fair in some small ways, but there is really no fairness. What you need, what he needs, are two different things.
That's right.
Time and my presence, I will spend fairly with you. We do together. But I cannot be fair because, and that's what we practice too in the classroom.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I can appreciate the process and the journey as what you guys are putting here. I think the one thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is then leaving it such as an open space for each child is going to be different as they grow through that. How do you guys actually evaluate progress? Because progress is going to look different for every child.
It is.
It's going to be in different areas of their life and their function journey. So how do you
Maybe
guys
Miss Grace could
evaluate
answer.
that and communicate that?
We have a checklist of their development, like for language, and then how they coordinate. Coordination is a big part, and they are reached till 6 years old. It's a big part at Montessori. And then we have a checklist. So we observe the children. It's not a grading system like public schools, right? We observe the child. If the child has the ability to do this, and then we check it out. And if the child is not, say for example, if the child is carrying a tray and then dropping their clumsy, then we need more activity. And we guide, we scaffold, and we will take it from there. So there is a progression in everything we do. So if the child is not ready for multiplication, then we have to teach them how to add, because multiplication is a repetitive addition. So we have a logical sequencing here in every area. So maybe they need more concentration, as Ms. Janet was talking about a while ago. So we will redirect them to build. Those are life skills. Maybe the child needs more hands-on experience with those materials like pouring or transferring or even, beading, things like that. We have multiple various activities for
obviously, like, what can we do at home to replicate the classroom? Obviously, we can't buy Montessori materials. I want you to kind of explain that to us.
Okay. Can I do that?
Yeah, I would remember.
And then to also answer his question was, it's not that they only are guided to what they love, or there is a system too that they're going to learn, but now we know how they learn. And even if it's something that they don't like Miss Janet here, like math, me too, and I'm not. But we understand how they learn. So now we can better present it to them in a different way, not by saying, this is this, you have to learn this. Like, hey, did you know this? Let me come over here. Let me show you these beads. And let's count them together. You see where the difference is? Yeah, so they're still getting those pieces. We just present it differently by knowing the child.
What's the best thing
following the
you
child?
read about the method? Where do I go read the math? I can go ask my friend Brock or whatever, but.
We have great books.
It'd
if
be
you
great.
are
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, the absorbent mind is fantastic. That one is,
Yeah.
yes.
It's one of her, that's Maria Montessori in a mouthful.
Child is 5 years or 6 years?
Three, yeah.
Maria Montessori.
And then I think another question would be, how do I do this at home?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we're not gonna build a whole classroom at home, right? So when you start practicing yourself, you're gonna start seeing everything as learning. Everything you do, children want to feel that connection. When they're connected to you, everything changes, right? So they want to do what you're doing. So now we're going to set the table, right? Oh, okay, you want to put on the napkins? Thank you. Let's count them. How many napkins do we need? How many are we? Okay, what do we need now? We need the forks, we need the cups, and of course, depending on their age here, we're not going to give them glasses at 2 years old, 3 years old. But you get my point. Oh, we're cleaning. Oh, here's a bottle of water, and you can clean. They need to move. And then you explain to them, how is that cleaning? Oh, look at, even when we're folding the laundry. Now the laundry, we're not, okay, help me fold the laundry. Wait, okay, let's fold the socks. Can you get me the pink socks? Can you get me the blue socks? How many socks do we have? You see, now we're gonna go upstairs for bed. How many steps are there? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? When we're at the grocery store, how many apples do we need? Let's count them together. 1, 2. Now you see how learning, it's not by, I have to sit down with you and show you this. Everything is learning. What do you see? Oh, we're in the car. What do you see outside? Oh, there's a farm. How many horses are there? What color are they? Now they're learning. Right? How do you teach empathy? At the table, we're having lunch together. Well, how do you feel about this food? What does it taste like for you? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Show them how other people feel too. Have them all a part of the process when you have siblings, or even if you don't. Turn taking, a board game. This was hard for me. My kids, I didn't know how to show them. I didn't know about Montessori at that time. So I would avoid board games because they would fight and I didn't know how to show them. Oh, it's my turn. Hold on, it's not your turn yet. You're next. My turn, your turn. Oh, okay, now it's your brother's turn. We're gonna count, we're gonna do things together. Everything is learning.
Everything. So I have a grandson who's a year old now, and he loves to vacuum. So he will pick up the hand vac, unplug it, and walk around the house with it. So the next thing we're going to do is to plug it in and let him actually start using it. He also likes to push the upright vacuum. It's a pain, it takes a long time, but we allow him to stand back there, we hold the handle, and he's pushing, and for all his little mind knows, he's vacuuming the house. Yeah. So, these are little things. But practical life is beautiful because we, as families, we do practical life at home every single day. Just involve them in it. Yeah. And as Miss Elisa says, get them to start, make sure you use vocabulary. Make sure vocabulary building is huge at this time. So make sure you use the correct word. Don't do the baby talk. Don't tell them a nickname for a cup. A cup is a cup.
They understand. Even if they don't have words, did you know that we start absorbing sound 7 months in the womb? So they are perfectly capable by 2. They understand everything, even if they don't have words.
Yeah, there's a question.
I have a question. I guess it's more so for the older kids. So my daughter's going to be going to the pre-primary VPK in the Brandon location. So I recently just discovered like the Montessori school, and I didn't realize it went all the way to 5th grade. So I have older kids that are a product of public school, and like going into like 1st grade, 2nd grade, and then 6th grade. Now they have a hard time, like as soon as they get home from school, they have outbursts because they've been holding their emotions like all day long, and they still struggle with like sharing. So if I wanted to like enroll them into Montessori, like how do you help the older kids with those things, like with sharing and with like handling their emotions?
Well, we have situations like that where we have children, even one came in 3rd or 4th grade from the traditional schools. Our children learn by observing. They come into the classroom and they realize that I'm not going to be sitting at a table and a teacher is going to be reading from a book to me. I'm going to have to get up and go get that work myself. We know we do lessons, but there's a period of independence in the classroom where after the lessons are taught, they are allowed to freely explore the classroom. And this is helping them to build responsibility. And they do learn by observing the others, by working with the others. They learn to share, they learn to take turns, they learn to slow down, and they learn to realize that, right, my time will come.
Constantly incorporating grace and courtesy.
And that's it.
throughout the year. Every month has a theme. Okay, so August we start with grace and courtesy, and believe you me, that lesson goes on throughout
For the whole year.
So if anybody is struggling
with grace and courtesy, actually.
Yeah.
But even just taking a few of the concepts and practicing them at home with your kids all together. So if you're noticing, you're observing, that's wonderful. You're observing that they're frustrated when they get home. So maybe the first half an hour we get home, we're gonna calm down. What's something soothing that they wanna do? Maybe you wanna play outside, or maybe you just wanna play with a few things. And then you start involving them with things, a little bit at a time, slow, because they're so used to doing one thing, right? So we're gonna do it slowly. So then maybe you can say, oh, okay, I'm cooking. Do you wanna come help mommy cook? Or whoever does the cooking, doesn't matter. Just for the example. Do you wanna come and help set the table? And then giving them a little bit of responsibilities, roles that contribute to the family slowly, just a little bit. Invite them in instead of telling them. I often say to our parents, like, are you speaking at them or are you speaking to them? Right? Because our parents spoke at us. They gave us instructions. They didn't collaboratively like speak with us, right? It wasn't reciprocal. It was do this. Because that's what they've always done. They didn't know a different way, right? So just little things. So maybe the first thing you want to do is, okay, they're tired when they get home. Let's do something quiet. Or if they're energetic, let's go play outside. And just do that. And then you add to it, a little bit at a time. And then it becomes a whole journey, way of life.
In our classroom, for example, the children, because they're older, they see each other more, and the behaviors stand out. And after a while, and I've had this experience, so I know, after a while, that child with the behavior realizes that nobody else in the classroom reacts that way. Nobody else in the classroom is behaving that way. This is exact same thing happened to that child in the classroom, but that's not the behavior. So after a while, just being a part of this community, they mentor each other, they observe each other, and we do see areas. And as Ms. Sithika points out, in our classrooms, grace and courtesy is a must. We talk about behaviors a lot. We don't dwell on the behavior. We dwell on what are the things that we should do.
Yeah.
That to make our classroom
That's
function.
brilliant because they need the tools. What do I do now?
What do we do?
Right?
So it's easy for them.
Expectations.
And we
That's another
reteach if
thing.
we have to.
Children they're so smart. They know, they just don't know what to do. So instead of telling them, like our parents did, oh, that's wrong, wait, let's tell them from the beginning, oh, we're doing this.
And it's okay to make
Right?
mistakes.
And it's, yes.
It is.
I still have to practice
Yes, me too.
after so many years. This is not, we're all doing this, which is basically, I'm sure all of you know, conscious parenting. You know, this is generational. We are doing something different than any generation has done before. It takes
Last
practice.
question.
That's the same thing I was going to ask my
Yeah.
situation, like similar to everybody's like I have my older went to the public school. He's in second grade, struggling with plus and minus still, vocabulary and like sounds and stuff. And as a generation, I was like I really my mother-in-law and everybody's their generation. They are all let me help you. And I was kind of like, how do I like like guide my own home environment that helps here for them and for at home too. So I was kind of like, is there a guide that we
Yes.
can,
Like some of the key concepts and what do we need? So I started off with the nervous system, our main control panel. So we need a calm environment, but we have to practice that, right? Calm and safe. If I can learn how to be safe, even through the bad stuff,
do you have a book that you recommend?
then we're going.
So what we need to do is
We're gonna give you some.
I was there, a lot of our parents could
Yeah.
not attend this workshop, so we are recording it. We will post it on our School Connect, and I hope every one of you are on the School Connect app because that's very important. And it's a good thing that we're going to put a couple of links, like the absorbent mind that we were talking about, so that you all could have access, or online, or if you want to buy the books. Otherwise, we are all here at the schools to support, throughout the
Yes.
years. So if you need anything,
We're always
feel
here.
free to reach out to your directors. I know it's a challenge. Sometimes you all don't have access to the teachers directly. We have an open door policy. Reach out to us, and we always kind of communicate with our teachers. If we can pull them out for a quick telecon, we can do that. Otherwise, conferences are there. So we are here to support you throughout the year. And I really want to thank all of you all for coming here. We are starting our school very soon, so
Yes, we look
forward to seeing all your children. And welcome to our Montessori family. Thank you.